Thank you all for coming out to BrickBridge Consulting's live New York Times demo for the Citrix Converge 2021 virtual booth exhibit. My name is Alex Edelen. I am the lead solution advisor here at BrickBridge Consulting. I deal with the new project coordination and most of the sales team. I'm also a member of the hackathon team from last year's Converge, along with Mr. Davis here, who will be doing our live demonstration. And Spotify was one of the apps, or New York Times was one of the apps that we worked on for that hackathon, which we took home the best overall grand prize at last year's Converge. So a little bit about us. We are a Citrix solution advisor as well as a Citrix development partner. We also source licensing and hardware through our distributing partner Arrow, as well as we run the Citrix Developer Solutions podcast. In addition to the Citrix products we offer, we also do custom SaaS implementation, fully custom coded API integrations for any products on the Citrix platform or anything else that you may need. We do AWS development, custom automation, cloud engineering, and then, like I mentioned before, through Arrow, we do any of the Citrix licensing, virtual apps and desktops, content collaboration, iGel thin clients, and firmware for Citrix CBAD. So if you're not familiar with Citrix Workspace, which we'll be demoing, you can see the byline here is from a Citrix white paper. That is the company approved description of what it is, but what it really is it is what I like to refer to as a tech stack management software. So it's an overlay for all the other SaaS products you may have. And what it does is it turns your business software into a Twitter or Instagram style intelligent feed. And if you had to think about going to all the personal websites, blogs, or individual websites that are brought to you via Twitter or Instagram through that feed in a matter of 5 minutes, it would take hours to go source, if not days, to go source all that information yourself. So what Citrix Workspace with Intelligence does, it does the same thing for your business application software. So it takes all of the information from all the numerous different browser tabs that you may have open and condenses it into one space for your business users to scroll through and get their job done at a fraction of the time it may take to do it otherwise. So from there, I will turn it over to Mr. Davis. He's one of our senior developers. Like I mentioned, he is one of the members from last year's hackathon team that won, and he is going to take you through a little bit of the front end and back end of our New York Times application that we took to the Citrix Ready Marketplace post hackathon last year. And Mr. Davis, I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Alex. So today, can you see my screen?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. Today, I'm going to be walking you through a microapp that I built last year for a hackathon for New York Times. And this is the Citrix Cloud platform, obviously. So we will first go into the microapp. And this is where all of our integrations reside. And then I will show you the New York Times integration. And the first thing you need to do when you're setting one of these up is to take a look at the API documents. And so this is the New York Times developer platform. And you first will have to set up the connection on the back end so that the Workspace platform can talk to the New York Times. And so all these APIs are slightly different, but so you'll have to look through and read through them all. Some of them are better than others, but this one's actually relatively easy to set up. As you see on this Get Started, you'll have to create an account and then sign in. And then you obviously have to make an app, which can then be connected through API keys to the backend of Citrix Workspace. And that happens through the configuration part over here. As you see, there's just an integration name, and you'll have to have a base URL, which comes straight from the API documents. Right now I have this set up with just a really basic authentication method, but as you can see, there are several of them. One of the most common is OAuth 2.0 because of the enhanced security it brings. And then there are some other configuration things you can do here, which aren't extremely important for this. Second thing you need to do is to go back to the API docs and to look at the specific APIs to see what you can pull back and what endpoints are available for you to call through the API. So you do this under the data loading in the Microapp platform. As you can see, I have 3 endpoints set up here. And you click on them, you can put template variables, different query and header parameters. And then there are different requests you can do, like get post. A lot of times you'll be doing get. And I can see I've inserted the API key into the header here. You can also test it right here, and then it will allow you to generate tables straight in the Microapp platform, where you can set up primary key, which you will have to do. And then this allows you to go into the table and gives you a bunch of information back, depending on the API, of course. But as you can see, these are pulling all these different articles, and these are the authors for the articles, the created date. So every API is a little bit different, but some will give you tons of information, some will give you barely any. This one gives us pretty much information that we can use when building our microapp. There's also this relationships tab over here, which you can use to join tables, and it's also necessary for Citrix Ready, but for this particular presentation, it's not essential. And there's service actions as well, which I did not use for this, but you can also use those to enhance your microapp. There's also webhook listeners and scripting. Those are a little more advanced, and it also depends on the type of API documents that you have and if they allow for it. So after you've hooked up through the configuration, and then you have your data endpoints here, all different ones, and you check the tables and you have the information, you can then go back and create microapps. And so as you can see here, there are 3 microapps in the front. There are different options with these 3 dots here, and as you can see, all of mine are subscribed. You have to have these microapps subscribed so that you can see the notifications and the actions in the Citrix Workspace feed for an individual user. Otherwise, it will not be sent out to anywhere and you won't be able to see it. But when we go inside of these are not using notifications. They're actually just actions that you can call through Workspace. And the way you set this up is you use pages. And then there are normally 2 pages. Sometimes there's an action page. As you can see, all the components are on the left side here. And Citrix has done a great job of adding new components and improving the UI on these microapps over the last year. I know it's a relatively new platform, but they've done a great job of enhancing these features. And then you can just drag and drop these components onto this middle space, which is what you will see when the actual blade comes out in Citrix Workspace. And I will show you that later when we get to the front end. You can also configure all of these by clicking on them. And then on the right side, different options and configurations will show up and allow you to do different things with the data and with the presentation. It just really depends on which component you're using, but they've added a lot of really cool things. You also have this paging feature, which allows you to have multiple pages full of data. So when we go back, that was for movie reviews, but there's also recent popular news that we've created. You can see this one has a little different format. And over here on the side, it gives you the data tables to pull from. You can set filters. And then you can also list the items you want to pull back, assuming they have them and everything. And change the layout and style. You can preview the page, although the functionality will not be the same. And then the last one is top stories. This one's a little bit different. Because it does have a filter here at the top. You can filter down for different categories. But similarly, you can just choose whichever article you find interesting. And in the property section, you can add an app description, app name. You'll need to enable actions sometimes, which you can do so right here. And that's really all you need to do from the front end or the back end part. One more thing I want to point out was on the three dots over here, you have these different logs you can use. If there's any issues, you can also set a synchronization schedule here, which you can do full or incremental, and you can set it for daily, weekly, or however long you want it to run. And then to set up the subscriptions for these, you just go to subscriptions here and you would add them right there. So now I'm going to take us over to the front end real quick. And to do that, you would just go here and click on workspace configuration, which would bring you up right here, and then click on the workspace URL. Now this feed only has, I've set it up so it only has the actions from New York Times that you can click on actions, and it will show you the 3 microapps right here. And when you click on them, they will just show up just like this, looking wonderful. Gives you obviously New York Times and recent movie reviews. And then if you click on any of these, it will bring you up to another page which shows you a picture, the movie name, and a small summary. It also gives you a button here, which allows you to click on it, and it will take you straight in to the New York Times website with that article on the front page, so you can go directly to it. The other one, here's recent popular news. As you can see, it's a little different. It doesn't have as many pictures, but it's more about the content and the paging, obviously, so you can scroll through all the popular articles from the last week. And finally, the top stories, which shows you all the top stories. And if you wanted to, you could filter through for a particular category, and it would show you just that category's articles. And that is about it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Davis. That about wraps up our presentation here. If you want to learn more about if you want to learn more about us, any of the micro apps we've built for our clients and customers, if you have an idea that you would like to take the Citrix Ready Marketplace, we can be of help. We also have another webinar coming up. Our final webinar of the year will be November 16th at 1:15 Eastern time. Here's all the ways you can find us. You can register for that webinar at our website. You can also find our podcast on any of the major podcast networks, and you can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We appreciate your attendance and have a great day.